Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, may I ask you an honest question? At 5 o'clock on Friday, what would you like to hear? Now, I wish to thank the organizer for inviting me to have the last words. I feel honored, and I'm also humbled by hearing the spectacular showcases, the good practices, the wisdom, the insights coming from not only Hong Kong, China Mainland, Japan, and other places in the world. At this moment, I'm thinking what I can say after hearing all those good ideas and materials. When I was given the topic assigned to me is the role of countryside for our future. I picked the keyword, future. Then I look up from a website what future means. The future depends on what we do in the present. I think this is exactly the occasion. We have been working on that for almost 5 years. We have heard many cases today, both in the morning and in the afternoon. There are lots of good material. The present, if we wish to look forward, I think it is useful to take stock of what we have done in the last 4 or 5 years so that we can be elevated. We can be elevated to a higher level to take up more challenges. And so in the following, I think, 15 minutes, 1-5, not 5-0, I shall try to sum up your wisdom, what you have done. I think the work in the last few years can be summarized in 3 U's, 3 letters. First one, unearth. Explore, understand what you can see above ground using technologies by drone, etc., and also what is underground. We have seen those. The other is unleash, and also to unlock. Allow me to take you through one by one. Unearth, I think, quite rightly, we have to understand the physical background, the geology, physical geography, ecology, etc. What is also underground? There may be hidden treasures, something we can find. It helps us to understand our history. That is legacy. That is the heritage we have to pass on. And so I think we have done a good job. And putting all those together is important. I just quote, just like beads, we have to pull them through with a string. Okay, they require some work inside. Then I think we have done a lot of good work in unleashing the potential, not only of the local people, but also the passion of the young people. We have heard cases today. That is important for us to move on to the next stage, to unleash creativity of various parties. I commend that you have done. You have tried very hard. And finally, to unlock. I don't need to repeat what Stephen has told us about the hard work they have done in the last few years. There are a lot of roadblocks to get through. There are constraints, there are hurdles to get through. I think you all have done a good job. So, by removing those hurdles and constraints, we can move forward. I look forward to another 5 years that as we look back, we'll see greater and better results. After the 3 U's, then the 3 E's. embrace. I really am excited that all the workers, all the stakeholders have been embracing. Embracing, firstly, the opportunity. Countryside conservation is not an easy job. You do not avoid. You seize the opportunity. You embrace this occasion to revitalize the countryside, to make it a better place, no matter where you live in Hong Kong, to live in and to work in. And you also, I think, particularly embrace the young people. I can see the passion from the speakers through engagement. Engaging them so that they continue to participate. I think that is very important in the countryside conservation work. And finally, that is empowerment. Empowerment is not just capacity building. It is unleashing the potential of the stakeholders, letting them develop their latent capability. I think that is very important. It's about human progress. So congratulations. I think through the work that's shown us, you have done all these. Okay, it's about the future. As we look to the future, what we have to consider, I submit to you another 3 S's. Firstly, I don't need to convince you. Look at the title of a conference, what Professor Stephen Tang has said, symbiosis is the first S. The second one is important, sustainability. It is about our future. The third one, strategy. We have a lot to do. What is our strategy? We are confronted with a lot of challenges. We still have a lot of work to do. Let me go through them one by one. Symbiosis. I think we have to move away, as previous speakers have said, from the binary, dichotomous approach. For a long time, we have been caught up in the mindset of the rural and the urban, the indigenous and the visitors, the government, NGOs, informal, formal, etc. We have to work together to understand this city and the countryside. They are integral. They are integrated. They are two in one. So we have to transit from the you-I mentality to the we mentality. We have to take a look at this from a broader perspective. Yes, there is the urban area and also the countryside, and yet they are in fact two in one. The countryside is the extended home of those living in the city. This I borrow from my previous seeing, Dr. Peter Penn, former director of planning. And also, not to mention that, the countryside with the biodiversity is the insurance policy for city dwellers. It has its ecosystem functions, very highly important. I think that is an asset we should not forget. So the three in one. Second one, sustainability, I think, is the key. That is about our future. Sustainability is not just looking at the environment at the moment, but also the society, the economy, not only now, but also the future. So we have to extend our scope of thinking. I think we have done so. In the last few years, we face greater challenges in future. To be sustainable, we have to not only to stop a bad project. The challenge is how to make the good ones work, realize. Ask the question, what will happen to all those projects in 5 or 10 years' time? Would they be sustainable? How to make it a self-sustained, regenerative, and spontaneous process? I think that is the key question before us. Do we need a business case? We have seen the business case from what Dan Dan said this morning. And also, how do we nurture the notion of ownership? That is my place, my home. And, okay, let me go back. That is important. Final one, strategy. Strategy, we have to consider strategy to be specific. No, I'm not asking for war, please. But to think, how should we get to the so-called destination? We have seized the opportunity. I can see that we have done a lot to unlock, unleash, to assemble all the resources, but then there is a limit. How can we do what we want to do with such a small time frame, with such limited resources? And I think we really have to think hard. Because despite we have done a lot to unleash the potentials, to unlock the constraints, we still have limited resources, and hence we need to be strategic. What are our strategies? How to be strategic? Now, we have heard smart ideas, good thinking in the presentations today. We have heard from a prof talking about acupuncture, radiating, leveraging. We have heard about building so-called linkages, building corridors, etc. We have to identify the key, the critical weak links, the missing links. On this point, I think, in addition to providing accessibility, bridges, roads, etc., water is very important. When we move into the outer space, the first thing we look for is whether there is any water. Water is of vital importance. Of course, then in the countryside, I think the ability to use the mobile phone, okay, Wi-Fi, I think improving connectivity, there may be a lot, but I've just highlighted two. The approaches we have used in the past are pilot schemes. Piloting using seed money. Then we have to think how we can replicate over space and in time to achieve Dr. Yao's butterfly effects, right? And the list can be very long. Okay, I'm locked there. The butterfly can I find? What should I do? I press the wrong, oh, okay. Removing roadblocks and unleashing potentials, and also working out templates. I really like that. Okay, in plain language, then the ordinary people can follow, etc. knowledge creation, retention, management, sharing, and learning through the process. And, well, I really like the platforms, linking the past with the present, sharing with the key stakeholders. But then we need the protocol for communication, for exchange. I think probably these are areas we have to work on. When I prepared the PowerPoint, could not squeeze everything in. I missed two, at least, which I heard today. Firstly, about the institution, about the setting, the organization, local organization, social organization, the institution. We need that to make it work. This morning we heard about presentation about the polycentric sort of organization. Now that may be one of the answers. We have to think about it. And secondly, we must consider the role of the government in the future. As chair of the vetting committee, I'm keenly aware that we have spent almost 40% of the money in 3.5 years. Resources are limited. Of course, I welcome the government to pour in some more money. But then, if she doesn't, what will happen? What should be the role of the government? In terms of policy, in terms of infrastructure provision, etc. So we have to think ahead. Okay, I think I've covered all those. And I'm sure that there will be many more strategic, okay. It is about our future. I quote, "We live in the century of the cities." By cities, I've just highlighted that it should be integrated with the countryside. So it is not just city in the conventional sense. Conserving the countryside is important. Conserving the biodiversity is important. If I quote from the Executive Secretary of the Biodiversity Convention, this is the battleground of life and death. So we have to work hard. How can we do it? We can recreate it, embrace it in the center of the city, such as New York. Or, in fact, we are lucky in Hong Kong. The countryside is so close to our city. It is just right next to us. It is our backyard garden. So, what should we do? And I'm coming to the end, almost. I would like to quote, "All those changes will not come automatically. We have to work hard, really." And the future belongs to those who believe in the future of their dreams. I have a dream. My dream is I can go to the countryside, immerse in the countryside, indulge in the surroundings, listening to the sounds of the countryside, enjoying the fresh air, and then I can probably spend the whole day. What is your dream? To make it realize, I think we have to work hard. That is a tall order, calling for people with vision, with commitment, with dedication, and who are willing to contribute above and beyond the call of duty. I'm sure that I am in the midst of these people, you. So let's work together to make it realize. The take-home messages are easy. The 3 U's, 3 E's, and the 3 S's. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Professor Lam for your insightful closing remarks. Thank you so much.